I am here with Power Slap middleweight champion Isaih Pretty Boy Quinones. He'll put his title on the line against Brandon Bordeaux this Friday at Power Slap 10 from the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, live on Rumble. Jump right into it, Isaiah. Can you just start by telling me a little bit about your background and how you got into the sport of slap fighting?
Yeah, so I actually grew up fighting, grew up boxing. My dad's from New York, Puerto Rican from New York. And, they always grew up fighting out there in New York. So, but once I was growing up, my dad had me, whenever I'd box, when I would spar, he made me spar the adults. I would never be able to spar kids my age or, it'd always be somebody older than me or the adults. And I'd have to sit there and learn how to box like that. That's when I learned I could take a hit. I was getting jabbed over and over again, just getting punched, and I was like, "Oh, I can take a hit. I have a strong jaw." But I joined the military, got out. I ended up working for an aerospace company. Went over and started working on F-22s at Edwards Air Force Base, and COVID happened. So during 2020, they paid us to sit at home, and while I was sitting at home, I was just bored. I was working out, sitting at home getting paid, wanted to do something. So I looked on Craigslist for a TV show or something to be on. And either, game show, Price is Right, whatever it was. And I came across this ad and it said, slap fight show. And it was the video of Dumpling actually hitting the guy with the black tattooed eyeballs. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've seen that. I was like, I could do that. And I went and tried out and I slapped a watermelon to try out, broke the watermelon. And they were like, you're strong, definitely come back. So I went back to the event on YouTube. I was doing it on YouTube first. So and that's how I got into it, the original one.
So as the sport grows and it becomes more popular, obviously it's been a massive success. Are you still working in aviation? Are you able to make this a full-time gig? Are you still doing other stuff?
So I'm actually getting paid really well doing this. I get paid really well doing my full time job. I'm still working in aviation. I actually just got a promotion last week. Just moved to supervisor position, and I make great money doing this, but I still make great money doing that as well. And it's for my lifestyle personally. I keep both because the way I live. Eventually, Power Slap is gonna get. I mean, if I really wanted to, Power Slap's paying me more than any minimum wage job, and I mean they're paying me enough where I could quit if I wanted to live, just like cozy, comfortable, all my bills paid at least. It's enough to survive. A lot of these guys, where they're coming from, it's more than they would ever make in an entire year.
Right.
So yeah, I just my lifestyle personally, I'm still working both because I like to spend a little money. I like fancy things. Um, but eventually it will get to a spot where I can quit. I'm slowly getting, sponsorships, ambassador deals with companies. And I mean, that's honestly, everybody knows that's where a lot of this comes from, a lot of the success.
So you mentioned you grew up boxing in New York. Can you kind of maybe compare what boxing training is like as compared to what you're doing when you go into a training camp for a power slap fight?
Yeah, I grew up I mean, it's a lot of the same training. Like, at least for me, I work out my neck a lot. I do a lot of the iron neck, how Mike Tyson does. Even when I mean, I did wrestle in high school too, rolling around on the mat, strengthening the neck. But with the boxing and stuff, I still do the same cardio so I can have this, same recovery. A lot of these people, like in the very beginning of Power Slap, were like, "Oh, these guys aren't talented. They have, they don't train, they don't do this and that." To me, I train. I train like I did when I fought, and you can see it in my competitions, and you can see it by the way I hold myself, and even when you watch my social media, the way I'm posting, you see my workouts.
You mentioned that you realized early on that you had a chin. Now, obviously, that's probably one of the most important aspects of the sport. Is that something that you can train for? Are there certain exercises that you do to help kind of develop that chin? And what does that kind of look like?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day when you used to try to throw a ton of pieces of gum in your mouth and chew on it, your jaw gets sore. Now they have, pieces they can put it in your mouth and you could chew on. that are just sit there and you could chew on those all day and build that muscle. I mean, I got from the way I've been exercising and everything, and the way I've been doing that nonstop. When I'm sitting in the sauna or walking on the treadmill, I'm chewing. When I'm sitting in traffic, I'm chewing. So it definitely built up my muscles quite a bit.
What is the most important skill if you had to pick one when it comes to being a successful power slap fighter? Would it be the chin? Would it be the power and the striking? Is it a balance of both? What's the most important?
It's a balance of both, and that's why I think I'm so successful, and why I'm not too worried about defending my title and defending it so fast. Because one, I have the power. My opponent, he doesn't have the power. Um, Two, my my opponent has the chin, but I have the power. So I mean, it's going to be a test of his chin, but for me, it's a mix of both. If you look at guys who, I mean, look at the Bell, for instance. The Bell, he's heavyweight champion, and he has a chin and he has power. So it's like it's literally a mix of both. Like, you're not going to be at the higher levels unless you have both.
I watched one of your interviews kind of preparing for this, and I saw or read that sometimes you actually enjoy getting hit.
Oh, I love it.
Is there one time you got hit that like stands out in your mind where it like really fired you up? What is it about that you actually enjoy?
Honestly, it's every single slap. Every single slap, I enjoy it because I'm looking them dead in the face, and a grown man just gave all his might to try to knock me out, and it didn't happen, and you just see the defeat in their face. That's the part I love.
Gotcha. I got one tough question for you. Now, power slap and the sport of slap fighting has become pretty polarizing. I think it's fair to say you either love it or you hate it. What would you
Yes.
say to the people that hate it and the detractors and the critics of the sport?
Honestly, I mean, the people that hate it, they end up usually loving it, to be honest. But I mean, they can hate it all they want. I'm still gonna do it. They're not gonna stop me. I mean, for all the people that say, we're not athletes or anything like that, come train with me for a day. I'll show you what it's like to train with me. Um, I would give those people 4 slaps for every one of my slaps.
Like it.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's see who wants to take 4 slaps, and I'll give them one.
So Power Slap is a relatively new organization. You are the first Puerto Rican champion in the history of the organization. What does that mean to you? Your Puerto Rican heritage. Obviously, there's a great history of fighters coming from the island. What does that mean for you as you promote yourself in the sport?
I mean, to me, it was super exciting because I mean, I grew up watching, Tito Trinidad. I grew up watching, a lot of these fighters, right? And I'm typical Puerto Rican. My dad had the little flag with the boxing gloves in the car on the windshield. Like, everybody knows that. But it's honestly super exciting, and to have somebody on a platform like this to represent the island and bring attention to the island and stuff like that. It's awesome. But it's like my family's super proud. We're super close. Everybody's excited. I mean, everybody knows Puerto Ricans are tough. We're tough people. So
Your dream opponent would be Jake Paul, who just recently fought Mike Tyson.
that is true.
Why is he your dream opponent? Is it to chat? Would it be to challenge yourself, or is it simply just kind of you want to knock Jake out?
I would knock him out. I just want to humble him. I want to humble Jake Paul. Like, he's gone, and he's fought boxers now. He's fought MMA fighters. Let's see if he can stand there and take a hit from me, and I'll let him go first. I'll let him go first, and let's see if he can stand there and take a hit from me.